Alright, welcome back to the Nanyang Championship China Qualifier group stage. This is our last game for the evening for Group A, and this is Hyper Glory team up against Newbee.Y. I'm basically providing coverage on behalf of Beyond the Summit. It's great to be joining all of you guys this evening. And let's get underway with our draft. We've got Gyrocopter and Earthshaker being banned out by HGT. We've got Lesh and Bounty Hunter being removed by Newbee.Y. And Tusk is going to be that first grab. So a quick reminder in terms of the overall standings: Newbee.Y currently 1 and 2, and Hyper Glory team actually the same, 1 and 2 for them. So I believe the loser of this should be so the loser of this is probably the loser of this is definitely not in the running for top 2, and there's a chance that even if you win this match that you won't advance because FTD might end up going 3 and 1 overall. So the winner of this match is going to have to hope that FTD Club end up losing their match tomorrow, so that there's a multi-way tie for second, and that'll be the difference maker. But Newbee.Y just going to fire back with a Lena and a Winter Wyvern here. Nothing too shocking. I feel like the Winter Wyvern has been a little bit unsuccessful so far in this qualifier. It's been picked up a couple of times, but I feel like it hasn't necessarily had the impact that the teams have been hoping to get out of it. So we'll have to see how that goes as the qualifier progresses and the rest of this patch goes on. But yeah, I don't know. This Winter Wyvern pick right now doesn't feel particularly inspiring. It is decent for saving people against Tusk. The Snowball Ice Shards comes in, and then you can just Cold Embrace to help avoid the punch. But yeah, we'll see how this Winter Wyvern goes here for Newbee.Y. HGT have some momentum behind them after that previous game. I think they really cruised to their match against HGT, so we'll see if Newbee.Y can put up a little bit more of a fight. In terms of who they've played every other team. Newbee.Y beat HGT, and HGT also beat HGT. So these teams not only have the same record in terms of score, but they've also got the exact same record in terms of which teams they've beat and which teams have beaten them. So this is this should actually be a pretty good one, given that context. What do we got? We got Juggernaut and Queen of Pain being banned out by HGT. We've seen how annoying the Queen of Pain can be for the Shadow Fiend on mid, so I think that makes a lot of sense. Dazzle's going to end up being banned out by Newbee.Y. Is this potentially moving them in the direction of a Storm Spirit? Could be, but so far just going to grab themselves the combo with the Winter Wyvern as they go for the Darkseer. So what are HGT going to do to deal with that? Anti-Mage is still decent. He's actually a very good hero to have against Darkseer in general. HGT are yet to secure, I would think, either of their supports just yet, so they do have the opportunity to equip themselves pretty well in terms of dealing with the Darkseer. There's still a Rubik in the pool, and this is probably just going to be a support pick if I had to guess. Might fish for a little bit more information. If they want the Anti-Mage, they might have to take it now, but then they're exposing themselves to something like a Darkseer Spirit Breaker, putting a lot of pressure on the safe lane. So it's a bit tough actually here. Well, we'll see what happens. They could, of course, also just run the Tusk on the safe lane. What other notable heroes are still in the pool? So Phantom Lancer is still in the pool, which I think is a pretty big deal, potentially for either side at this stage. And yeah, it looks like HGT in a little bit of a pickle as well, just kind of talking out their options at this point, since this is a very important pick for them.
Disruptor!
I'm just going to end up going for the Disruptor. Okay, so they do just pick up a support. They're going to fish for a little bit more information. It does help to lock down their safe lane nicely against the Darkseer, since Glimpse is a fantastic way of killing him in general. And Thunderstrike, good zoning, good harassment at level 1. What's the Darkseer going to be able to do in response? They might be able to give him a sentry or something, and he can make sure that there isn't a lane ward spotting him out, which makes the glimpse a little bit more difficult, but again, Thunderstrike's still decent vision, so you don't really need... You aren't 100% reliant on having Observer Ward to be able to kill the Darkseer. HGT have some pretty good teamfight going of their own to match the Winter Wyvern Darkseer combo. They've got some Shadow Fiend and Disruptor action going on. So, looks like they should still be able to take the fight to Newbee.Y. And what is Newbee.Y going to go for? I guess there's still a question of whether or not the Lina is going to be mid, or if the Lina is going to be support, or doing some kind of weird dual lane shenanigans, or aggressive tri-lane or something like that. I feel like the Disruptor effectively doesn't necessarily make Storm Spirit totally worthless, but I feel like Newbee.Y are probably a little bit unlikely to pick it, seeing the Disruptor over on the other side of the field. And I'm really curious to see how the draft continues to evolve from this point forward, because I feel like we have... It's still pretty close to the current meta, but stuff like the Disruptor is a little bit different. So maybe we'll see some more unique stuff out of HGT moving forward. Newbee.Y I'm just going to grab the Rubik, so it looks like Rubik and Winter Wyvern are going to end up being the supports. Lina is going to be your position 2. And they're just looking for their one position carry to round things out. Unfortunately for them, they don't have last picks, so HGT are going to have the benefit of grabbing something potentially uncountered here. I feel like the anti-mage is still tempting if you're HGT, just to make sure that Darkseer has a woeful time. He can, of course, just duck into the jungle if things get bad. So there's always that avenue, but the Darkseer is going to be really important this game, because I feel like Newbee.Y, they're pretty squishy on the whole, and they are going to really need a mech from the Darkseer backing them up. They're also, I guess they're alright in the early game. I was about to criticize the Winter Wyvern and the Rubik as not being that great at moving around and getting things done, but Rubik can gank for the Lina pretty easily, so I don't think it should be too much of a problem. And HGT just going to shore up their team fight a little bit more as they end up grabbing a Witch Doctor. So that does lock the Tusk into that offlane role, and both teams still looking for the one position hero. So PL's still there, Anti-Mage is still there. In terms of other heroes, what have we got? I'd like to see a little bit more Spectre, so I think something like a Spectre could potentially be alright for HGT. It doesn't really seem like the kind of line of play that Newbee.Y are looking at here, so this is very interesting. But both teams have really chewed through a lot of their reserve time as well, and I feel like this middle phase of the draft has just kind of broken down into both teams fishing for information, and neither team is giving up anything. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna pick a support. Screw you. We don't care. So Bloodseeker is the ban. I don't think that hero's been all that successful recently, but we have seen a couple of games recently, even in the competitive scene, where he's done all right. So
10 seconds remaining.
It's a decent ban. Disruptor plus Bloodseeker is very annoying.
5 seconds
There's
remaining.
pretty much no escape if you're on low HP, and you can get really big damage out of the glimpse. And the Spectre's actually going to end up being banned, but it is by HGT and not Newbee.Y, which I find a little bit interesting. But I guess Newbee.Y could have picked it up for themselves as well. Spectre's a menace with an Ion Shell, and there are non-Radiance builds that you can go, so
Dire team pick.
that could have been alright. Newbee.Y instead just going to take the Anti-Mage, which looks pretty good for them, though if the Darkseer gets... I think if the Darkseer comes out of the early game in a bad way, then they could get 5 mans. Potentially. And, well, the Phantom Lancer and the Anti-Mage, 2 of your tier 1 carries for the patch, make it through into the last round, and they're both just going to get picked. So I was hoping for something a little bit different, but so much for that. So let's get ourselves underway with this last game for the night. Over on HGT, we got Pretty Hot on Disruptor, Air on Shadow Fiend, XCD on Phantom Lancer, Lycus on the Tusk, and HYM on the Witch Doctor. Meanwhile, for Newbee.Y, we've got Le on the Winter Wyvern, Jia on the Anti-Mage, SCCC on the Lina, MRR on the Rubik, and I don't know, exasperated face on the Darkseer. I'm just thinking back to a point in time where one of somebody that I was playing with on a team kept getting called surprise face by any commentators that were on our game just because that his name was just an ASCII face. Alright, Tusk has got to find some kind of way out here, but he's dead. He's dead. And stun's even going to land from the Lina. I don't know what he was hoping to accomplish. He did come down and manage to place this ward a little bit earlier, but got pinned off by the early rotation out of Newbee.Y. I don't think he expected to see the boots of speed necessarily on the Winter Wyvern, but easy first blood. Easy first blood picked up by the Rubik, unfortunately. Could have given the last hit to the Lina or the AM. I guess preferably the Lina, but shouldn't be the biggest deal. They've pinged out the ward as well, so looks like they have a pretty good idea of what's going on there. And they're also just leaving the Anti-Mage here. They've got double boots first on both of their supports, and looks like they're going to go and wreak some havoc. There's going to be another Arctic Burn in about 3 seconds, so this could be a very quick follow-up kill here on mid, though it looks like Witch Doctor might be considering sticking around. If they were clicking on hero inventories, they would have seen the double boots, and they might suspect what the plan is here. Stun gonna land, Air gonna cop some damage. Does have a salve, but yeah, looks like HYM is gonna be sticking around here. Gets a nice little bounce back on the cask as well, so looks like Air's gonna get his initial few souls and should be alright. XCD and Pretty Hot actually running somewhat dodging, somewhat aggressive. Well, not dodging. What am I talking about? They're actually just driving back the Darkseer. I'm losing it. They were just swapped around there. I was like, oh yeah, clearly Disruptor and Phantom Lancer on the Radiant side and Darkseer on the Dire, but no, it was just that they'd gotten in behind him. Alright, so doing a pretty good job of pressuring back this Darkseer here. Again, does need to be pretty cautious against the Disruptor, especially once those levels start to climb up. Looks like Witch Doctor just going to be chilling mid and maybe stacking things up, looking to secure that 2-minute rune. And well, with the initial bit of help, looks like Air's actually doing just fine. He's actually had a fantastic start on Shadow Fiend, both in the last game and in this game. So I'm very impressed so far. These are not all... Actually, you know, the Shadow Fiend versus Storm matchup is pretty easy. I think the Shadow Fiend versus Lina matchup is substantially harder. So we'll see if he can keep this up. Looks like Lina's bottle is already making its way out. Air not too far away either. It'll just be either a couple of raises or a few auto attacks to pick that up. Meanwhile, Anti-Mage, pretty awful CS from him actually. Bottom lane 4 and 2. Does still have a creep wave coming into the tower, but I don't know. He's potentially missed a few or something like that. Tusk comes running in with this invis. What can they get done? Witch Doctor also wants to get involved, but we'll see. Level 2 on the Tusk. Ice Shard's blocking things off. They've got the Snowball as well. Raze is going to come out. Nice stun, opens up some space. And Winter Wyvern as well, just TPing in to make 100% sure that nothing untoward happens with Lina. So that's a bit of a hint to HGT that bottom rune is not warded, since I think otherwise that Tusk rotation doesn't come anywhere close to succeeding, but since it did, that's a bit of a hint. And Winter Wyvern, not a wasteful TP either. Just gonna spend some time stacking up this camp as well. I think Tusk was either hoping to scout out stacks or maybe find a low HP Lina clearing the medium camp, but no dice. And it's gonna be able to scoot away with some creeps here, so he gets the lane back in a good position, and his levels are looking really secure in this lane. Already level 3, compare that to the Darkseer's 2.5, and yeah, he's got it right underneath his tower at the moment, so that's pretty much level 4, level 5 guaranteed from this point. There's not a whole lot that Rubik can do for another 30 seconds to pull the wave back, and that's going to be another creep wave arriving under the tower. Things looking pretty sweet for the Tusk. Anti-Mage's farm is now kind of caught back up, though Air is still crushing it. 20 and 7 on the Shadow Fiend. 4-minute runes about to pop up. Winter Wyvern also in the neighborhood to help secure this one, and Witch Doctor just opting to set up another stack there instead, but Air's just gotten a Bottle Crow off, so I don't think he's too concerned. Phantom Lancer has an Orb of Venom, which is a little bit interesting, but just putting some pressure on the Darkseer, who is still level 2.5. Alright, what level is this Disruptor? He's only level 2. It's not even the level 3 for the 2 points in Glimpse just yet, but Darkseer giving this lane a ton of respect. And is he actually just going to go over into the jungle? Again, I think the mech is still crazy important for Newbee.Y here. So we have to do what they can. Winter Wyvern throws out some harassment, is going to be able to scoot over the trees and be alright. Lena's also up here. They're trying to contest this tiny stack, but Dota's crazy now. The disparity between, well, the fact that stacking is so common and jungle stacks are worth so much more than lane creeps. Well, not so much more, but at least a little bit more in general than lane creeps has sort of turned this into another dream hack where teams are just smoking the opponent's stacks, you know, thinking about it, scouting it, doing everything that they possibly can to put pressure that way. But the response has just become, oh yeah, we're just going to clear it once it's triple stacked. We're not going to 5-stack it in and risk anything too weird happening. Yeah, Winter Wyvern gonna Cold Embrace under the tower, but there's no TP help coming just yet. Darkseer now arriving, and Arctic Burn is gonna get her over the tree line and away to safety.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And Darkseer, after clearing out that stack, is gonna be up to level 4. So he's looking a little bit better. He's got his Soul Ring secured now. We'll be able to continue applying pressure to the Phantom Lancer. The PL does have a bottle, however, so it is going to be tough to drive him out of the lane completely, but should still slow down his farm at least somewhat. And Anti-Mage is now picking up the pace. He's got his Quelling Blade, he's got his Ring of Health. He is ready to hit some creeps for the next 10 minutes and pick up his Battle Fury. And what is Tusk doing? Looks like probably just wants to come down bot and maybe grab his level 6 without moving around and doing too much else. Shadow Fiend, I think still probably going for a mech, but just picking up some small items along the way, so we'll keep an eye on his progression as things go on. And Disruptor actually opting to pick up a point in the kinetic field here instead of getting some extended range on his Glimpse. I think the Glimpse is a little bit better for potentially killing the Darkseer, but it depends. He's probably got a better read on what's going on in this lane since he's been watching the Darkseer this entire time. And if the DS is just playing crazy defensive, then you may never get a glimpse anyway. Two-man smoke. This is a pretty big commitment. The Lina and the Rubik making their way top lane, but there's a full combo ready for the Lina. They're going to put some pressure on the Darkseer, but little do they expect that the Lina and the Rubik are in the trees. However, kinetic field's going to come up, and that kinetic field point comes in very handy as XED and Pretty Haw will be able to escape the gank. So a bunch of wasted time and a wasted smoke, unfortunately, there for Newbee.Y. S-Triple-C looking to Laguna Blade. Pretty Haw won't even need to. Just drops the Dragon Slave, and we'll still find at least the 1 kill out of that rotation, so helps to make it a little bit more worth it. Some pings here, some pings there. Did place an Observer Ward as they made their rounds to this top lane as well, so even a reasonably productive move from the Rubik's perspective. And he's actually gonna pick up his Arcane Boots if he, well, didn't miss that CS, but should still be able to saunter over to the secret shop and pick that up just fine. What's the Winter Wyvern up to? Looks like he's been playing a pretty self-sacrificial role in this game, but is still about to reach level 4. Do we have some further stacks in the jungle? You betcha! And Anti-Mage putting some pressure on Tusk. There's still a decent duration left in this haste turn, but I think he does need to be careful. Mono Void's ready for the AM, and he's completely so Looks like he's just gonna have to be content with picking up his level 6 and look to go and gank somewhere. Darkseer in some trouble. Glimpsaroo, not even needed just yet. They got the kinetic field up. Surge is being used. Lina TPing in. And Winter Wyvern making an appearance over the tree line. Rubik also running up. Alright, that's... They didn't get the kill, but they got a hell of a response out of Newbee.Y. And Tusk TP's top. Was that spotted? Nope. No vision back behind the tower. Darkseer in some trouble. Looks for the surge. Gets called embraced. Kinetic field somewhat wasted as a result, but the punch is still ready. Wall gets dropped down. Ice shards as well. Tusk not gonna punch him. It's just gonna be the raise from air who finishes it off. And Pretty Hot now running in. 2 points in the glimpse. Taking the Winter Wyvern back. It looks like there should be another kill. TP scrolls on cooldown. And I think the Winter Wyvern is gonna lead a little bit of a chase, try and waste some time, but still will end up dropping. So 2 for 1. First rotation out of the Tusk. Relatively successful. Of course, he's not going to be all that happy dying in air. Actually, just going to run right over into Rubik and Lina, who are waiting very patiently for him to make his way towards the 10-minute rune. Nice little play from them there. And that, I think, makes that top lane overall engagement well worth it for Newbee.Y. Yeah, about 300 more gold and a lot more experience. Almost double the experience out of that little skirmish. And AM is still just totally ignored down on bottom lane. And what's Air got item-wise? Okay, he's got his headrest, he's got his buckler, mech's coming up. Mech also coming up for the Darkseer at about the same clip. Phantom Lancer, what's he gone for? Just finishing up another couple of small items here, so we'll see if he starts looking at some Boots of Travel relatively soon, or if he feels that this is a slightly more active game. Could be a drums guy as well. Another rotation out of the Rubik and the Lina. Picks up a kill on the Tusk. Down on bottom, and that one's going to be going Lina's way. So Lina didn't get a whole lot of priority out of the supports in terms of stacks and safety and farm, but the rotations have been really on point.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under
Phantom
attack.
Laser sees the pressure bottom and is gonna respond in kind on top lane, but Darkseer's still around to deal with that. He's gonna have his mech pretty soon. Winter Wyvern just working on a soul ring and gonna pick up level 6 on mid lane, so things looking good there. Rubik also very close to picking up level 6, and this is... it's a decent Rubik game. Nothing amazing. You should never be able to steal Death Ward from Witch Doctor because he can just toggle Voodoo Restoration during the Death Ward, so your best spell from him is kind of the Cask. Disruptor is pretty good, but not amazing. Tusk is probably your most consistent steal here, actually, as Triple C going to drop some damage onto Pretty Hawk, and he getting spells off will be able to. There's a regen rune right there that he could grab, but he's just going to retreat back. Nice Ice Shards blocking this off. Actually, Ice Shards stolen creates a little arena that Rubik gets totally trapped in, along with Lina, and that is going to be the end of that. 2 for nothing. Pretty Hawk survives through, and Tranquil Boots in the mech. Just going to bring him back to health. I think even if he hadn't blocked himself, hadn't blocked them in, they were probably dead anyway, since the best retreat path was totally cut off by Ice Shards, but yeah. Pretty Hard gonna come in and place down this, in my opinion, somewhat, it's not necessarily broken, but it's very annoying. It gives really good vision all the way over mid lane, and it doesn't, it's totally invisible from all of these angles, so you both need to cut down the tree and have a sentry ward to get rid of it. Just a bit annoying. There's a Yule's on the Lina, but she's been spotted moving into this top lane by her ward, so I don't think XCD should die unless he gets lifted, which they are trying for right now. Surge into lift attempted, but the doppelganger's going to get him away. Tower is low, Glyph's already being used. Cast bounce comes out. Lina in a bit of trouble, does still have the Eels to save herself. Mech's gonna be popped and the wall dropped down just to ensure the retreat, but tower does end up being denied at the end of the day. Alright, so in terms of an overall lead, it's about 1k net worth in the Newbee.Y direction and about 1k experience in HGT's favor right now. Anti-Mage is one component away from completing the Battle Fury, but Phantom Lancer also has his farm accelerator in the Boots of Travel picked up. Skirmish for the 14-minute rune coming out. Lina forced herself. Yule's nice static storm is actually going to keep the Winter Wyvern away. Pretty Hostile standing in the middle of it. And out comes the Death Ward. They brought down 2. Can they find more? Darkseer 2 points in the Surge. Looks like that's enough to get him away. Static Storm actually stolen there by the Rubik, but unfortunately unable to save anyone with it. So with that, HGT are going to take the kill lead. Their mech is still off cooldown, and looks like they're going to get some good pressure on this tier 1 mid. Darkseer's wall is still down for 40, and he's a little bit low on mana. Looks already been used. So yeah, looks like it is actually going to be the tier 1 probably going down here. Winter Wyvern looping around from the side. She get a good ultimate off. Who's she looking at right now? Will come over, forces some damage onto HYM. Can they burst him in time? Will be able to. Shadow Fiend getting lifted back. Has 17 wand charges and the mech, so I think he's going to be alright. And Darkseer just sent right back where he came from. So they get the tower, they lose the Witch Doctor. And meanwhile the carries are both just farming against one another on bottom lane. Newbee.Y, I think you need to be a little bit more careful with some of these moves. The glimpse is extremely punishing. It is nighttime, so there's less vision to work with from HGT, but have to be cautious of these wards. HGT, another smoke, same kind of a position. It's a smoke on smoke right now, actually. Anti-Mage blinking into this camp. Can they lock him down? Static Storm is ready. Where's the punch? Where's the snowball? Snowball goes out. They'll be able to punch him up into the air. One last raise finishes him off, and Newbee.Y split up somewhat. HRM comes running up onto the high ground. That Static Storm that he was holding from earlier is going to help out the Rubik somewhat here, but XCD comes charging in, looking for SCCC and the Ice Shards. Nice block off. Looks like Pretty Hawk still going to end up dying, but they do find the kill on the Lina. Splinter Blast almost cleaning up the Witch Doctor as well. Rubik now going to be the second recipient of a punch for this fight, and will be brought down. Darkseer super late to the party. TP's in, mech's still on, well, mech's still off cooldown. That was just kind of a weird move. So they smoked these 3, and they split Lina this way and Winter Wyvern and Rubik this way. Darkseer was somewhere else, and Anti-Mage just died straight up at the start. He does at least have his Battle Fury now, but HGT are a 5-man, and I don't know what Newbee.Y can really do about it at the moment. They really need some more points in vacuum. Is the Darkseer... I was about to say that the Darkseer is a little bit underleveled, and I guess that is fair. He's behind his counterpart in the Tusk, and his team has made space for him, but he hasn't really paid that back just yet. It's not that he's died a whole lot, he's won 1-on-1, but he's super instrumental to them holding on until the Anti-Mage gets huge. They are only, but they're actually not even. Wait, were they behind by? Yeah, one tower at the moment. Rotation coming towards top. Rubik and the Anti-Mage for now. This Observer Ward is actually just right on the edge of Sentry Vision, so unfortunately Newbee.Y should be able to clear that out before too long. Tusk has just picked up some treads, sitting on about 1600 gold right now, so it looks like a likely Blink Dagger coming out of him. XTD trying to bait a little bit with the illusion, comes running back in. Witch Doctor in some trouble, gets lifted, but what can they really do here? Darkseer out of position, off to the side, gets slowed up, has a surge in a second, still has the mech. Gonna be forced to use it now, drops the wall, but it's completely futile. HGT just gonna come running through and look for some more kills. I don't know, what were they hoping was gonna happen with the Phantom Lancer? That they lift him and then a few Anti-Mage auto attacks into a Mana Void are enough to kill? Was Anti-Mage even Ion Shelled? Lina's gonna be forced to just TP away here. This Phantom Lancer comes a knocking. But yeah, I don't know what the hope was there. At least Anti-Mage is going to live and continue farming up, but Shadowfiend looking really big right now. Already has his BKB complete, and HGT making moves onto the last tier 1 tower over on the Newbee.Y side of the map.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, Rubik's level 8, so he's pretty much set for life from this point forward. Lina has had a couple of unfortunate deaths along the way. Gonna jump on bottom lane, they're gonna drop the Winter's Curse on XCD. They want this Phantom Lancer dead, but TP and mech from the Shadowfiend's gonna keep him in fighting shape along with some bottle sips. Newbee.Y taking some really questionable engagements. Glimpse is gonna cancel that TP. They didn't even need that, however. They will manage to catch out the Witch Doctor top lane, gets abandoned by his team. And it does end up being just a tier 1 for a tier 1, support for a support, so as much as that looked pretty bad for Newbee running in and dropping a bunch of spells, looks like it still kinda works out in the end, but Winter Wyvern's dead, Winter's Curse is down, and HGT heads straight into Roshan. There is a little bit of vision in the neighborhood for Newbee.Y, but even if they suspect what's going on here, I don't know if there's all that much that they can do about it. And Shadowfiend already with 3 points up in the presence of the Dark Lord, making pretty quick work of Roshan here. So they're going to have an Aegis Shadowfiend ready to siege. They've got the Fusel Blade now up on the Phantom Lancer. So he's doing plenty of damage, though he's not all that survivable just yet. Anti-Mage has opted not to pick up the Vlads. He's actually just grabbed a Yasha here, so does mean that he's not 100% able to stay out on the map without having to return to base while he's farming, but I think he's starting to feel the pressure a little bit from HGT and just wants his Manta style ready to go, both for survivability reasons and for being able to contribute in any kind of meaningful way to these fights. That's the one big thing that HGT have that I guess I didn't really mention, is that there's not all that many amazing Mana Void targets. Yeah, the supports are both somewhat vulnerable, but Disruptor doesn't even have Arcane Boots, so his total mana pool is only 600, and Witch Doctor a little bit bigger at 900, but I feel like you're somewhat unlikely to find the Witch Doctor. Anti-Mage's mana getting burned out, won't even be able to get off another blink, and the snowball into a punch finishes him up. XCD just catching him there after the blink. Is maxing out the Phantom Rush, which is, I think, is definitely helping him in these kind of pursuits against the Anti-Mage. We see a lot of people only putting the 1 point in, but this seems like the kind of game where the extra Phantom Rush points are pretty value. There's surges to get people away. There's no Force Stabs just yet, but I'm a fan of the build here from XCD. Rubik and Air are going to run into one another. There's a BKB ready for the Shadowfiend and a haste, but he doesn't need to use the BKB because he still has Aegis. And looks like the haste rune is going to be more than enough to get him out of here. Disruptor still sticking around a little bit longer. And the rest of the team joining them pretty quickly, actually. Phantom Lancer's down bot, but he's got Boots of Travel ready to go, so he's never too far away. And Newbee.Y just gonna kind of go back to farming. Our graphs are looking like a 2k net worth lead, and about a 4k experience lead in HGT's favor right now. And Darkseer now has himself a blink. Alright, so this is where things hopefully start to change for Newbee.Y. They've got the blink on the Darkseer. He's just about to get level 11, so he can get his second point in his final point rather in vacuum. And hopefully they can get some big Winter's Curse vacuum combos off. Phantom Lancer's going to have a survivability item pretty soon, which is very troubling if you're Newbee.Y. But it's actually just going for the Yasha probably into a Manta here, so they might have a little bit longer before he's totally impossible to deal with. What's the Lina got? Lina's actually almost got Ags, so Shadowfiend not nearly as tanky as a result. Has just picked up a Yasha here. And Age is still up for another 2 minutes, so it looks like HGT going to make pretty good use of this. Already some pings going out on the mid tower, but we'll see if they can switch over. The lanes are in a pretty good position from the Radiant here. So if they back off, they might not get another opportunity with this Aegis. It looks like Air is Air is feeling the high ground push right now. Multiple heroes going up. I don't know if they've spotted the Darkseer Blink Dagger just yet. Still in fog for the time being. Actually skilling up the second point in the wall here instead of grabbing the final point in vacuum. That seems a little bit weird to me, but... HGT is still very intent on using this Aegis to the fullest. Spam out of the Splinter Blast, proving to be a little bit annoying. Tusk in a pretty bad position to vac back into the wall, but they don't get any further combos. Snowball actually coming back the opposite direction. That's going to set up nicely for a Winter's Curse. Not the right target for the Laguna Blade, however, gets blocked by some of the curse damage. Witch Doctor is going to end up going down, and Tusk will also fall. Double kill for the Anti-Mage, who turns up at just the right time to pick that one up. So that's his Manta style completed, and unfortunately HGT looks like they are not going to get any value out of this Aegis. They are running back in. Darkseer on the edge of the Silence. BKB Requiem thrown out. Darkseer brought down immediately, and XCD still looking for more. As Triple C and Winter Wyvern trying to escape. There's a glimpse coming back. Wyvern, a few more auto attacks will finish her off. Lena realizing that she's dead, just trying to do as much damage as he can before she falls. Though chasing out of the base turns out to be a disastrous decision for Newbee, as the 3v4 swings totally the wrong way, and now they're gonna lose their tier 3. It's a buyback from the Wyvern, but still no Winter's Curse. 10 seconds to Darkseer, but no wall for a little bit longer. Are they gonna go for the melee? Any damage to the range? No, just gonna call it quits and get out of there. Did a little bit of damage to Anti-Mage on mid, who showed his face for whatever reason, but looks like not quite enough lockdown to kill him there. Anyway, so for HGT, not as clean as I think they were hoping for, but still looking pretty good. Shadow Fiend is still huge, and he's got his S and Y now, so looking reasonably tanky. The biggest flub for Newbee was just not really getting a whole lot of value out of their out of the Ags in that fight, and chasing out, but the decision to chase is only bad because they kind of got caught. And they were being spotted as they were running in, and HGT had vision while they were hiding. I don't know if you want a Medallion Disruptor. There's already a Medallion on Tusk. Did he sell it? No. Okay, that's a little bit of a miscommunication, but not the biggest deal in the world. Anti-Mage is not off split pushing. That's going to fall to the Darkseer at the moment. Anti-Mage is just sitting in trees for now. Winter Wyvern comes in. Nothing really else going to happen. As HGT just splitting the map. Phantom Lance are not going to end up going for the Manta, just picking up an S and Y of his own. So HGT's items, I think, very much indicating that they just kind of want to end this game right here, right now. It's probably the remaining outer towers without the Aegis, ward up the entire map, establish a perimeter, wait for the next Roshan, get that Aegis, and then high ground off of that. Taking Roshan isn't necessarily 100% clear cut. Anti-Mage can split push top, he can apply some pressure, and there's a lot of AoE teamfight over on Newbee. We've definitely seen recent games where Darkseer around the pit wreaks havoc. So that's something that HGT are going to have to be a little bit cautious of. But we've got their ward up over towards bot and mid. They've got a ward towards top. Spot the Anti-Mage moving into position. They know that he's going to be there at least a little bit longer, but it's going to take more heroes to kill him off, and HGT just going to go for a smoke here. And taking some damage. There's a Doppelganger, there's a Manta style. Damage going both directions, and Phantom Lance needs to be careful. Actually, somewhat randomly going to purge himself there, and just run away. The smoke has actually found out the Rubik and the Witch Doctor in the mid lane. Fight coming out. Trouble for the Darkseer, but he's got the wall down. Shadow Fiend running in with the BKB into the Rec Room. Frozen Sigil on top of the Winter Wyvern right now. And the Winter's Curse going to be dropped just to buy a little bit of time. Looks like the Ag's ulti from the Lena actually got dumped on the Witch Doctor there. And it's going to end up being a 2-for-1. HGT winning that fight on mid. Roshan is still probably a little ways away, but clock's totally broken. So what are HGT gonna do here? It's probably still the same planet. I don't think you can high ground in 20 seconds. And there's still a glyph for Newbee.Y. Yeah, so just gonna back up. Tusk has a Solar Crest now. How much gold on Shadow Fiend? 3.6k. Oh my lord. Alright, so Shadow Fiend's huge. He's probably just gonna pick up a Butterfly if I had to guess. Scotty also an option, but either way, some good survivability coming his way. HYM just grabbing some farm, working away towards his Aghanim Scepter, which is actually not too far away, about a 1500 gold to go there. And Newbee.Y, what do they have for vision? They've got a nice split pushing ward for the anti-mage at the moment, so he's kind of set up shop on the top side of the map and feeling relatively safe. But they have to know that that Roshan is the next big thing to contest. I think if they give that away, if they give it away, they can probably still hold the high ground. Darkseer, Rubik, Winter Wyvern, and Lina are all relatively scary high ground heroes, but there's nothing really guaranteed in the split push of Anti-Mage because HGT can always just address the split push with the Phantom Lancer and then have him back up in Boots of Travel after he gets the lane into an alright position. And there's no way that Anti-Mage solo kills the PL, I think, without Phantom Lancer screwing up or without Anti-Mage having an Abyssal Blade. So it seems like that Roshan fight is going to be the next big thing that Newbee.Y have to watch out for. But the question is, how are they going to know? Roshan's still, they've got no vision over towards the pit. They don't have any real ways to scout it out, so for now they're kind of bottled up inside of their base. PL's got a Reaver now, so Heart's probably not too far away. Witch Doctor's just scouting Roche. Did he see it? Oh my god, did he look away or did he enter that little patch of fog just a little bit too early? Air is de-warding over here. Is there a gem on the disruptor? Nope. Just a little bit of scouting going on. Witch Doctor's gonna poke his head back inside the pit and does spot out that Roshan is back up. And Anti-Mage is getting in position to cut some waves on top lane. I get the feeling that HGT are probably just gonna go mid after this Roshan, but we'll see. Top lane is exposed. Anti-Mage now picking up a BKB. And Newbee.Y grouping up. Gem gets dropped. Smoke is ready. Some discussion about should they bring the gem. They don't have time for this because Roshan's pretty much already dead. So now what can they do? I guess they can jump them outside of the base. They've lost control of their lanes because they brought the Anti-Mage back to hopefully take him to the Roshan fight, but now all three lanes are kind of pushing in their direction and HGT have the pick of the litter in terms of where they want to go. If they're feeling really greedy, they can just go mid and hope to swing through mid, up into top and pick up 2 lanes Zerax that way. Otherwise, I don't even know. There's no real advantage to going bottom, so it's definitely top or mid. We'll see what they do. In terms of buyback status, Lina's got a buyback, Darkseer's got a buyback. Darkseer, no new items just yet, really. In terms of what he's going to get, BKB would be pretty sweet, but that's still a little ways off right now. And yeah, it looks like HGT are just going to put the Phantom Lancer top lane, deny the Anti-Mage split push, and have him come join the team before too long. Rubik's also up here with a Glimmer Cape. And HGT actually somewhat split up right now. Witch Doctor wants to finish his Ags, which he's now got. And it looks like the call is just being made to finish some items before they try and go high ground. So that's Butterfly complete. Reaver, actually Heart, sorry, pretty much complete. Another couple hundred gold. Rubik trying to invis up. Doppelganger comes out. Lag as well. Rubik gets immediately right-clicked down. Anti-Mage's gonna pop the BKB and try and make his escape here. Looks like he will be able to TP out, but that is his 10-second BKB on cooldown for 70 seconds. And that's going to open the floodgates. HGT, not a care in the world. They're just going to run right down top lane and clean up this lane of Brax. Darkseer's going to have to find the combo of a lifetime. They have a smoke to smoke him at least. Nope. They do have a glyph. Still dead for 10. BKB still on cooldown for 40 seconds. Jump in, back wall. Air does not care at all. Didn't even create an illusion of the Shadow Fiend. No combo with the Winter's Curse. That's just sad. So, melee barracks gone. Aegis is still up. Heart and Aghanim Scepter both online. Anti-Mage does almost bring down the tier 2 tower on mid and then swings down towards bottom, so there's definitely split push happening right now, but top lane is now already racked, so it's going to push for itself, and now it becomes very easy for HGT to deal with this because, again, they can just kind of have PL on one lane and the other 4 pushing down the other. Air is always so eager. Like whenever he thinks like, okay, I'm huge, let's just go. He is always well ahead of his team. I feel like he's still reasonably safe, but it's kind of at the outer limits of what is actually safe. Of course, he probably knows that, or at least he's guessing that the enemy team just doesn't really have any vision, and he knows he's still got the Aegis. It's always interesting to see the kind of things he does. They get the vacuum on the 4, but the Winter's Curse isn't doing anything. Phantom Lancer is locked down, but he's going to be back very, very soon. Winter Wyvern would have died to one last auto attack, but the Cold Embrace comes out, keeps him alive. Lina stuck inside the Static Storm. Rubik did manage to get his hands on the Death Ward and manages to return fire to kill off the Disruptor. Double buyback coming out, but melee barracks already getting worked away at, and Air still has his Aegis at the ready. Jump in, they vac, they wall. Can they get a Mono Void? It's already being used. A little bit of lag coming out. Stun dropped as well. Air just standing his ground. Tusk retreating back, but XCV goes charging right in. Trading blows with the Anti-Mage. Needs to be careful. Does have another Doppelganger. Makes it up out of the high ground, but Anti-Mage gives pursuit and will finish him off. HGT do lose 3 end of the day. And will it be more? Looks like it will be Tusk. Gonna punch up the AM. Not able to blink out in time. And will end up falling. Did cost Newbee.Y 2 buybacks, so let's see what else they can get done off of this. Anti-Mage has 3.2k gold, and the Lina buyback really hurts, especially since she ends up dying back. But HGT, what do they got? They don't actually have a glyph. Phantom Lancer's dead for 50. I think Tusk can probably buy back, and they won't need to buy back on the PL. They might need to buy back on either, honestly. The Shadow Fiend is still huge. And the Glimpse is still crazy threatening as well. Yeah, alright, so Newbee.Y just gonna give it up, back off. There's still ranged barracks both on mid lane and on top, but looks like HGT are deciding, look, we're gonna 100% make sure that everybody is alive, and then we'll go and do something. There's too much of a risk of some random pick-off happening otherwise. Anti-Mage has 3k gold. Air didn't die, so he's got another 2.6k. In terms of an overall lead, we're looking at 14k net worth and about 8k experience, or 9k experience in HGT's favor right now. And what are they gonna do? They could just play patiently, but I think there's also a decent chance that if they just go and push bot, that probably works out fine. They're probably also telling themselves, okay, look, Newbee didn't really get the combo off in that last fight, so if they had successfully Winter's Cursed and vacuumed us, the fight could have turned out very differently, but looks like they're still just gonna apply pressure, hope for a random pick-off, and if they pick off the Lina, then the game is definitely over. And what did AM end up buying? Nothing just yet. Just stockpiling gold for now. 4.6k up for him. Basher is probably the next choice. And XCD's pinging high ground. Really, XTD?
Bottom tower is under attack.
He's just he wants to see everybody back. The Radiant, well, did they see Shadow Fiend just there? I'm just trying to figure out if they know that HGT aren't actually all there. Yeah, they very much know that HGT aren't all there, but even with that, not able to jump the Phantom Lancer. It's a Shiva's Guard for the Darkseer, so it's gonna have to be careful of Static Storms. Trying to jump in with the wall, but there's some nice damage that they're definitely gonna need to help deal with the Phantom Lancer and the Shadow Fiends. And Anti-Mage goes Butterfly, alright. It's good damage. Can't really complain. Helps a decent amount with survivability. Shadow Fiend could go for a Monkey King bar if he spots this, but Newbee taking some tentative steps outside of the base. They have a little bit of vision, so they know that they're not running into 5 right now. Though farm is definitely stalled on everybody but the Anti-Mage for their team. And who else on HGT is close to items? I've only been looking at the PL on the Shadow Fiend, but everybody else is equally important. We've got a plate mail and 2.1k gold on the Tusk. Could be AC, could just be a Lotus Orb. Yeah, it's just going to be a Lotus Orb coming out. Helps deal with the Winter's Curse nicely and helps deal with Lina combo. It looks like they're really just assembling the items to either turn Phantom Lancer or Shadow Fiend into an absolute god. And the Aegis is definitely on that list, so Roshan pops back up. They're going to make very quick work of this. They have spotted out the Tusk, but he's going to buy 4 seconds with the Snowball and should be able to actually blink and invis out. He's going to be alright, I think. He's still dusted, so the invis rune wasn't even necessarily a get out of jail free card there, but Snowball into blink buys his team the time to get Roshan, and, well, it's high ground time. What did Newbee do? I think you do you even try and smoke the Darkseer and the Winter Wyvern around? It's probably your strongest play. I don't know what else you can do. You're kind of at the point where you have to win a team fight. I think it's very unlikely that you can look for any kind of a trade. HGT are just gonna mega creep you. Everyone's off doing stuff at the moment. Lina wavering somewhat, can't quite decide if she wants to stick around top lane and hope to catch somebody coming back to deal with the Anti-Mage, but I don't think anyone's coming back for the Anti-Mage. I think they're just going straight high ground. It looks like they're actually just going to go in through mid. Tracks getting worked away at. Phantom Light's just going to swing top there, making 100% sure of the win here. Anti-Mage already TPing back. Smoke out for Newbee.Y. What can they find? Surge out. Looking for something. Shiva's going to be used. They blink in. It's a vac. It's only on the Disruptor. It hasn't done anything. The Death Ward's going to start channeling from the high ground. And Anti-Mage's BKB being somewhat wasted as he just runs around in circles. Will find the Witch Doctor. But it's a 1-for-1 so far as the Darkseer ends up dropping. No buyback from him. And they can just give the wall a wide berth as they make their way down towards bottom lane. That was very awkward. Poor Darkseer.
Radiant structures are fortified.
You know, fair enough. I think they had to go before they got to the racks, but HGT a little bit too disciplined to fall for that vacuum there. Teammate's gonna come in. Looks pretty hot, but gets immediately silenced, punched up into the air, knocked back down. Right click to death. He's gonna buy back. But this is a very symbolic effort at this point. Air still got Aegis, and he's still got the Satanic. XCD is just clearing up. Double kill for him. Lina forced to blink back into the fountain. That is going to be the Mega Creeps. And that's going to be the GG, and that is the end of the run for Newbee.Y here in the Nanyang China qualifiers. They're going to be 1-3, so I believe that mathematically eliminates them. HGT, that also is the end of their run, but they're 2-2, so they're still that's the end of their matches. They've played all their games, but they're 2-2, and now they have to hope that FTD Club loses to eHome King tomorrow to have a chance of tying things up and being able to move forward into the next round. So thank you for watching, guys. There might still be another game going over on BTS2, so make sure to check that one out. I'll be back tomorrow for the final day of the round-robin coverage here for the Nanyang China qualifiers. So that'll be eHome King versus FTDA and eHome King versus CDEC Young over on this stream, and VG Potential versus Dubao and VG Potential versus FTVB. So hope you enjoyed the coverage. Thanks for watching Beyond the Summit, and I will see you next time.